welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jelani. I am your professional dancer here for everything dance, art, and creativity. Today, we are going to go over the top 10 best dance scenes in movies that are not musicals. Such a phenomenon to have a dance scene in a movie that's not a musical and really doesn't have original scoring or songs in it. Obviously, musicals are easy to incorporate dance and have sort of a flow, but when you have a movie that's not a musical, you really have to make the dance scene make sense. Otherwise, it's just going to be very awkward and very uncomfortable. However, that might be the vibe, right? If it's a comedy film, then that might be easier to do versus if it was a serious drama. But I think I have a decent range of film genres. And if you agree, comment down below. If I missed some of your favorites, again, comment down below and maybe we'll do a part 2. Okay, so first up we have the dance scene from Napoleon Dynamite. Now, Napoleon Dynamite is probably considered a classic for like my age group.
He's promoting for Pedro to be class president.
So this is actually John Heder, and according to him, this was all freestyle. He was just going with the flow, dancing to the Jericho song Canned Heat, which is a bop. Because if you watch the film Center Stage, you know that that song was also in there too. And Jericho has some like bangers. So as I said, this was an improv dance, and it fit so well within the story because you understand that I believe the film is kind of neurodivergent coded. And so you see how he's not the most popular or maybe even the most liked, but he still goes out on stage and he does something fearless. And to me, John is a great dancer. Like, when I saw that, I thought he looked great. He looked like he would be maybe in the 70s doing like a Soul Train line or something like that. His style of dancing is very much funk and disco influenced. So I enjoyed it. I thought he actually killed, looking back at it, I was like, he actually killed it. So the next movie I have is Big Mama's House. This scene is not really your typical, like, choreographed dance scene.
In this scene, they're at Hattie Mae's birthday party, and they end up capturing Lester.
For people to break out in a line dance or a Soul Train line, or, you know, kind of all the kids do their own thing and dance around. When I looked it up, it said it was choreographed by Keith Washington and Fatima Robinson. I believe that because Fatima is all over the place when it comes to choreography, creative directing. Like 9 times out of 10, anything dance related you've seen, it's her, it's Frank Gatson, it's AJ Jones, which we'll get to him later on in the video. A lot of these choreographers are like the behind the scenes players of giving you a visual. You don't realize how important dance is until you don't have it in a film. Then you realize, oh yeah, we need some direction, we need choreographers, even if it's something as simple as getting everybody to be in a line and, you know, go ahead, you dance, that's still choreography, whether you're giving 8 counts or just giving movement and direction. My next film that I have is a fan favorite, especially if you are a millennial, Titanic. It's crazy because I was doing research for this video and I didn't realize that Titanic had a dance scene in it. At least I don't remember that part. But then when I looked it up, I was like, oh, this is a perfect example of how to fit in a dance scene in a dramatic film. They're actually dancing to a Celtic band who is playing a mix of songs to create a polka dance song. And that's the dance that they are doing. I didn't see a choreographer. However, it did say that Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet did actually take polka dance classes. And that tells you a lot about how serious actors really get into character and want to make sure that their characters are authentic as possible. There's a lot going on in this scene. The dance part of it is giving you a connection to their relationship, how much in love they are, and how much fun they're having together. I mean, dance is fun, right? They're dancing together, they're enjoying, they're drinking. But the other thing that's really cool about this scene is Kate Winslet's character, Rose. She is obviously a part of the bourgeois, right? She's very well off. She's very, very wealthy. She's married to someone who's wealthy. For her to be in a setting like this with people who have less than she does, the fact that she's respecting them by knowing their dance, because if you watch the scene, it starts with Leo doing his, dance. And then she does the same exact thing. She doesn't try to do her own thing. It's cool because she's not being disrespectful, and that also shows the connection that they have, the fact that, both of them are willing to meet each other in the middle for the sake of their love. And so I thought that was really dope. I thought that was a really cool dance scene that they were able to fit in a drama. The next movie. The next movie that I have is a classic, Hitch. Now, of course, when we think of Hitch dance scene, we probably think of the Q-tip. And mind you, that dance scene was improv'd by Kevin James and Will Smith. Watching those bloopers would probably have you busting a rib. But the last scene, I was trying to see who choreographed it. I couldn't really find it. If I find it, then I'll put it down below. But the last scene of the film is really the dance scene that I wanted to highlight. Again, this is an example of how to fit in a dance scene in a movie that's not a musical. It makes sense to fit in a dance scene when you're in a party setting. They're doing a Soul Train line. And I want to say this because I said this in my last video. Will Smith is one of my favorite dancers. I kid you not. If you want to learn how to do New Jack, which is like a 90s party dance, watch Will Smith because he's perfect at dancing. And even though he's, a comedian and he has a more goofier side to it, the fact that he's able to move his body and extend his limbs the way he's doing it, and you could really see all of the movement. I think he's a dope dancer. So this is why I wanted to put this in there. Oh, next I have She's All That. She's All That is another cult classic film. It is a coming of age film. It's a film that everybody makes fun of because it's the girl with the glasses and the ponytail, and the guy makes a bet that he could, make her beautiful, and take her to the prom and blah, 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 blah. It's one of those things. But anyway, we talked about with Hitch how it made sense because they were at a wedding. Well, this dance scene makes sense too because they're at prom. So again, this is how you can sneak in a well choreographed number, which essentially this was. And what I really loved about the choreography, it was done by Adam Shankman. And you can see that that song is a 90s song with I want to say 60s go-go dance type of influence to it.
There's also a Bob Fosse influence as well.
And really, throughout the decades, you see sort of these decade mashup type of things, right? Bands like Delight, for instance, would do a lot of 70s funk-esque type of music. And people were genre bending at this time when it came to music, and then the dance and the choreography fits that. There's kind of a 60s go-go-esque type of vibe to it, right? But it's still modern. And so I love how people can do that. It kind of makes you feel like people don't forget where things come from. And they always want to pay homage to the original source of their music or their media. So I really like the She's All That number. Like I said, it's a very well choreographed. And all of these people are supposed to be in high school, but they look like they're 30. I don't know. It is what it is. Good times, good times. So the next one is a double whammy. I kind of cheated with this one, but I'll explain why. The next movie is Charlie's Angels. Now, I'm talking about Charlie's Angels, the first one, but there is also an epic dance scene in Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. So we'll get to that one in a second. The first one though, with Cameron D, it is so good. So she's out with this guy for the first time and they go to this event. And again, when we're talking about trying to incorporate a dance scene in a non-musical, perfect setting. I think Cameron Diaz is a great dancer. Like, she's a great dancer. Naturally, you could tell. And this scene is hilarious. It really showcases the black versus white dynamic. And the thing about us black girls is, listen, we'll root for anybody. If you are having a good time and if you are killing it, we're gonna have a good time because that's what we love. We love dancing. We love to have a good time. The first film has her dancing to Baby Got Back. And I love this. I love this scene. My favorite part is when everyone's cheering. It is, because I feel like, honestly, this would be real life, you guys. Like, this would really happen in real life, okay? The sequel, Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, is actually more choreographed and it's more put together, so to speak. Choreographers were Robin Anton and then Brian Friedman assisted her. Brian is one of the dancers that are by Cameron Diaz's side. This, again, is another example of your classic early 2000s immaculate choreography. Like, why are we doing this whole professional thing in this movie that doesn't even need to be a musical? You know what I'm saying? But this is what you get when you have professionals, when you have professional dancers, choreographers, you get excellence. And that's an example of Full Throttle. But for the first one, I love the authenticity. I love that this is also a way to show us the personality that Cameron Diaz has. You know, she's fearless and she doesn't care. Like, she's gonna have a good time. She sees that Soul Train line. She loves dancing and expressing herself and she's just gonna do it. Her man is trying to make conversation and he doesn't really know, like, he sees her and sees how free she is, and he wants to be that way too. He wants to talk to anybody, no matter if they're intimidating or, you know, and that's crazy too when you think about it. For a first date, to really go out there and just do your thing on a first date. How many of you guys would do that on a first date? Would you be like Cameron D? The next film. This is the first film that is a totally different genre. But for some reason, this dance part works. And that's the film Megan. Let me tell you something. I literally did not watch the movie at first. The first thing I saw, I didn't even see if it was good reviews. I didn't see box office numbers. The first thing I saw was this dance scene. And I was like, what's happened? What are we? But upon further research, I realized that this dance scene actually makes a whole lot of sense. So Megan is played by Amy Donald and the choreographer is Kylie Norris. And they actually worked together before I believe Kylie is Amy's dance instructor. That's a perfect situation, first off. Like I think every dancer is so grateful when they get a gig where they know the choreographer, they know how the choreographer works. I know for choreographers, that's like a blessing to y'all too, to be able to just hire dancers that you have good relationships with. It makes everything cohesive and easy when you get to set, and very professional, because it's like one and done. You're just able to do your thing and you get the vision right away. So this isn't really a dance scene, so to speak, but this dance move that she does is the most creepiest, eerie dance move because, you know, she's playing this robot and it's clear that she is very unpredictable, right? Even the woman who creates her, she doesn't know what her next move is going to be. And it gets to the point where now she doesn't even know how to destroy Megan. And so the dance part of it is very, very eerie. And this is an example too to say that dance and horror, if done well, can be amazing, because you have a lot of different styles of dance, right? And you have a lot of people who are able to interpret those styles and make it their own. And sometimes you create this I want to say creature-esque movement with certain people. This was an example in Lovecraft Country. As a matter of fact, though that was a series, it was still based upon horror and H.P. Lovecraft's work. And you saw when they hired dancers to do that, it looked incredible. Dancers have the flexibility, We have, like I said, that creature-esque, eerie type of movement when we have our dance knowledge or our technique in dance styles like ballet or jazz or contemporary, for instance. We're able to do this movement that a regular actress might not know how to do unless they have that foundational dance training. So this is a perfect example of horror meets dance. You have an actual dancer who's playing this character, and to play a robotic character in general, whether it was a horror film or not, that means you have to be able to isolate your body. That means you have to be able to move one thing at a time. You have to have control in your movement, right? When you're playing something that is artificial. So absolutely loved this. 10 out of 10. Okay, so my next film, I'm so excited about this film. I feel like this film honestly is the reason why I made this video. Because this dance scene, it means a lot to me. It takes me back to my childhood. The movie I'm talking about is Good Burger. Now, of course, I'm talking about the original Good Burger. I feel like the second Good Burger was just kind of like for all of our inner childs to feel good about ourselves. And for us to point to the screen and tell our kids, hey, do you know who that is? Anyway, oh my God. So this dance scene is amazing. It was choreographed by Dave Scott.
He sadly passed away this year, so much love to his friends and loved ones.
Who's a well-known hip-hop choreographer and has worked on So You Think You Can Dance and You Got Served. This dance scene is perfect because it makes sense, but it's still super bizarre. So they are at a psychiatric hospital
with longtime employee Otis.
Keenan and Kel are trying to take down a burger company who makes fake meat and fake burgers. If that's not like 2020s coded, I don't know, like this story is actually fire. Like,
they're also trying to steal Ed's secret sauce.
You know what I'm saying? I really genuinely feel like the plot is amazing. If you missed the plot, go back and watch it. They're trying to take down Mondo Burger, who is producing essentially what we would call GMO food. They're in this psychiatric hospital and they're doing this George Clinton and the Parliament Funkadelic song, and George Clinton is in this. I say this all the time. The way in my childhood, I don't know how it is now, but in my childhood, the way they were giving us these old Hollywood, old music type of legends in our everyday film and television shows, I mean, we were spoiled with the amount of talent that we had. You literally have George Clinton in there. There's another choreographer in there. Her name is Shonique Sneed. She's right next to Kel. It's just perfect. Now, of course, the dance style is, I would say, what the foundation of hip hop kind of comes from. Because first off, you have the Parliament Funkadelic song, which is a predecessor to hip-hop sound in general. That funk or that P-funk sound is something that a lot of West Coast rappers utilized in their music through the 90s. So this is again what I was talking about with the genre bending as well as the time period bending. You have a 70s art meets a 90s art. And I think that's why a lot of us are, I want to say, us 90s babies are pretty well cultured when it comes to music, because I mean, we had samples that spanned from the 60s and 70s, and George Clinton is one of those pioneers of the sounds that we're used to hearing. This scene also makes sense because, like I said, the company essentially is trying to hide them or cover up. And then you also have the fact that the dance scene is a way for Keenan to beat up the guards, grab the keys, and escape. So again, you have an example of how to make a dance scene make sense with the storyline when you don't have an original score, you don't have a musical or some sort of setting that makes sense. I mean, to dance in a psychiatric ward. Now, I hope this scene does not offend anybody, or I hope people don't take it too seriously. To me, I still find it hilarious and entertaining. And this is just, like I said, a creative way to incorporate dance in your story. We have a classic. I could not put this scene in. The next film is Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice, iconic. There's actually 2 dance scenes, but the one I'm going to talk about is the one where they're all at dinner. This scene is perfect. Again, we're having this conversation of dance meeting horror, because when you're talking about the paranormal realm, anything goes, really. You know what I mean? You can make people fly, you can make people different colors, you can make people dance unwillingly. So the dance scene actually also makes a lot of sense because it kind of shows you how the parents are kind of enemies in this situation. Winona Ryder's character, who found the ghost in her attic. And of course, the ghost, they're trying to get these people out of their home because they want to have their home so they can rest in it for eternity. So they're trying to possess the guest and the parents to scare them away, but instead it actually makes them want to sell tickets and have other people experience this. Specifically this character, I can't remember his name, but this character is crazy. The dance scene was choreographed by Chrissy Chino. It's perfect. The song is perfect. I think this is why we all put this song on our Halloween playlist. That song and Jump in the Line. It's crazy how a song like that became a Halloween smash hit, but here we are for spooky season. Like I said, this is a perfect example of dance meeting horror. Something paranormal is happening. These ghosts are taking over everybody's bodies. So it creates this dance and these, almost scary to have your body move without your permission. And these are all actresses. I'm not entirely sure if anyone here has an actual dance background, but that's also really good with acting and movement, because to pretend like something is moving your body and you aren't in control of your body still takes an element of dance knowledge, I would say. So I think this was a really perfect example of horror meeting dance. It's classic. It's just a vibe. My top 1 film with a dance scene that is not a musical has to go to Sinners. Now, I did not see the movie yet. I'm kind of nervous too. But this dance scene, I think is, let me put it this way. Ryan Coogler definitely set a standard when it comes to dance scenes in films, as well as dance scenes in horror films. Because as I mentioned, you see where dance meets horror. People like Jordan Peele have tussled with these different art forms, especially when you're talking about a film that is a predominantly Black film. You're going to have all different types of art in it, because as a part of Black cultures, whatever Black diaspora they are, dance is going to be in there. You know, food is going to be in there. Music is going to be in there. And so sometimes when you're trying to explain the Black experience, you're going to kind of have to reach in for dance somewhere, somehow. And that's exactly what Ryan Coogler did excellently in this film. So this film was choreographed by Akaman Jones. And if you want more details about him, his assistant, as well as the dancers in this film, I would recommend watching Melanie Centeno's video, because she is a professional dancer and she goes over detail of who did what in the film, what dancers there were, what culture that was tied to their dancers as well. If you watch the film, you would see that the dancers are following the different characters in, I think it's a juke joint. They are following these different people, and those dancers represent their ancestors. And so you have a lot of different dance styles from all over the world. I think this is what I mean by Ryan Coogler really set a standard, something I don't think ever seen in cinema. Just to see different styles and different cultures represented, it gives you an understanding of how, I want to say, Eurocentric dance in film unfortunately tends to be. There are so many dance styles that you can access. There are so many different cultures that will teach you the histories and everything like that, but those people unfortunately aren't represented, specifically when it comes to American cinema. And it says a lot. I mean, you know, you had white actors that were playing Asian characters or Hawaiian characters or even sometimes Black characters. And it just goes to show how when you have these directors like a Ryan Coogler, representation, whether it's representation within Black art
or other cultures like Chinese art,
whatever it is, like, people like him are going to, like I said, access these different parts. And I think that's huge. Also, the way this dance scene is shot is something I don't think we've ever seen in cinema. Even in musicals, sometimes your dance scenes can be very square and very, I want to say, like two-dimensional, right? Everyone's here, this is their spot. Maybe a camera pans here and here, then again, you know. But again, when you're talking about horror film and the paranormal, now you have room to play. He's literally showing you how, I want to say, dimensions work and how we are multidimensional beings, how we have past, presents, and futures attached to us. Showing the different camera angles, but then also taking us kind of on a ride, not in a dizzying way either, because when you watch the scene, like, you don't feel like you're spinning around. Everything is still smooth and cohesive, and to choreograph that, Akaman AJ Jones, to choreograph that is insane. I think, like I said, Ryan set a standard and AJ set a standard as well when it comes to choreographing for film. It really took you into the dimensions of oneself. And I think that was just good luck to everybody. Now, from now on, from 2025 and on, like, for real, y'all, good luck when you're when you're choreographing your scenes and when you're directing your scenes. And I think also we're going to see maybe an even bigger renaissance of dance meets horror, because on this list I had technically three horror films, and two of them were more recent. So I think we're going to start seeing dance even in more places other than, you know, A Step in Time or 42nd Street, right? So I hope you enjoyed my list. Let me know if I missed a film. comment down below, okay? But this is my personal list of my top 10 films that I grew up with, as well as films that I just looked to and admired. These films inspired me as a dancer, but also as a creative too. How far can I stretch my dancing abilities? How far can I, stretch my creativity when it comes to choreographing myself as well, and teaching? So I really enjoyed doing these videos. If you want more, please like, share, and subscribe. And again, comment down below. Was I on point? Let me know. Let me know if I was on point, okay? Many blessings to you all. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.